So I've got $40,000. Should I buy silver? Should I buy gold? Or should I buy cryptos?
International Stacker.
Hey everybody, International Stacker here. Welcome back to another video, and I've got a very important topic today, but first I need to preface it with, I am not a financial advisor. Read my disclaimer in the description below. You alone are responsible for your decisions. But I'm going to share with you something kind of crazy that just happened, I guess. But before I do that, help me fight the YouTube algorithm and battle censorship. I need you to take the like button, take him by the hand, walk him up the top of a mountain to a scenic overview, and gently push him off that side of that cliff, and so he smashes on the bottom of the rocks. And ladies and gentlemen, I was contacted tonight by somebody who I've helped and I've coached in the past. And again, it's just my personal opinion, some rando on YouTube that travels the world buying gold and silver. But a lot of it's worked out and people do ask me for advice. So tonight, the question was, we have just come into a windfall of money. We are getting 40,000 US dollars, not money, fiat currency. For all of you just getting into gold and silver, this is real money. Real money has to be fungible, meaning it can be used anywhere. It needs to be divisible. It needs to be a store of value, which gold and silver definitely does. But paper currency does not. And as I mentioned in one of my last videos, the US government literally, through the Federal Reserve, which is a private entity, says 2% inflation a year. So 2% is taken away from your paper currency in the bank. This is how you fight against that hidden tax. Anyways, long story short, we have $40,000 and we want your advice on how to spend it. So I'm going to show you how I broke it down and why. And I think this will help a lot of you with your proportions. So the total here, let me fix the camera. Total here, and let me straighten this for all my OCDers out there. So the total is $40,000. What are we going to do with that? Okay. So the first thing you need to know is this acquaintance of mine, they're religious, they're Christians. So that being said, they immediately took 10% off the top for tithe. So, did I even spell tithe right? Is that right? So that equals 4,000 bucks. Okay, so that's right off the top. Religious beliefs, totally honorable. And I myself am a Christian, would do the same thing. So now we've got 36,000 left. Boop, 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 boop. What do we do with it? So my first question to them was, how much does it cost you a month to survive? To pay all your bills each month, house, car, insurance, medical bills, anything, how much does it cost you a month? So this is a rather large family. And they told me, well, to be super comfortable, to make sure we can cover all the bills or anything crazy happens, $6,000 a month. So I said, here's what you do. You want to keep 3 times that, so 3 months worth of money. Currency, oh yes, it's not money, I'm sorry. Fiat currency, so that equals $18,000. That's called an emergency fund. And I recommend having at least 3 or 6 months. Your first goal is 3 months, then grow it to 6. However, they do want to invest and have some exposure. So $18,000, and they said, well, what do we do with that? I said, keep some cash, and then keep some in the bank. That way, if where you're keeping it cash, you get robbed, which you shouldn't. But if you do, or the house burns down, you still have some in the bank. And if the banks go totally crazy and everything shuts down, economic global collapse, you still have some cash, okay? So that's 18 plus 4, so we're at $22,000 gone. So out of 40, that means I've got $18,000 left to play with. Now here is where the fun starts. Boop. Excuse my writing, guys. I should have been a freaking doctor. I'm a horrible writer. Okay. So here's where the fun starts. Now, I said, well, what do you want to get? Now, this entity I've been dealing with has like 0 gold. They have mostly silver because that's what I was helping them get into. And they want a little bit of exposure to cryptocurrencies. So here's what I recommended for them. Number one, I looked at the current gold to silver ratio, which is GSR, and currently we're at about 66.7, which means for every 1 ounce of gold, it's equal to 66 ounces of silver. So for every 1 ounce of gold, it's equal to 66 ounces of silver. Now, back with this acquaintance, when they first got into gold and silver, the gold to silver ratio was, I think, in the 90s and went well above 120. So that's why they were stacking silver. But now with the gold to silver ratio, it's closed. We're at 120, guys. It's almost half of what it was just a few months ago. I advise them to get some exposure to gold. So I said, here's what I would do. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Here's what I would do. I put 12,000 into gold because of that gold to silver ratio being so low, and because they've done is stacked silver. Me, the majority of my stack is in silver because I think it's a huge opportunity. I think it's undervalued, but they did want some exposure to gold. They're super heavy, only into silver, and with the low GSR, gold to silver ratio, that made sense. I have a video I'll try to link if I freaking remember in editing that shows you how to play the gold to silver ratio and get free gold and free silver. It's epic. So 12,000. Then I said what I would do next is for silver, I'd put another $4,000 into silver. So they're getting exposure to gold. They're stacking their silver stack higher. Personally, myself, I think there's bigger opportunity in silver in the long run for gains. It's gonna shoot the moon. It's gonna shoot the moon. Whether it shoots the moon or not, I think there's better possibility here. Just because of where it's at, nowhere close to its high. It's hit 2 times, and in 1980, that was worth over $100 if you count inflation. So it's nowhere close to that where this has been. But so they wanted some exposure, some silver. The last thing. Cryptos, freaking IS. This is of the devil. Speculative. It's a freaking gamble. I agree with you 100%. But they want some exposure to cryptos. Cryptos are something I actually know about, folks. When I first started on this journey, I started mining Bitcoin. I forget what year. I think it was 2014 or 2015 or something. I don't know. Bitcoin was around $400 to $500 a pop. So I bought some miners from China. Some ant miners. I plugged them in Saudi Arabia. I was a contractor in a compound. I had free electricity, and I let those puppies mine. I mined over 11 Bitcoins in my career, and I used a lot of them and traded them into gold and silver. I got a buddy into cryptos out there who is another contractor out there in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and he got me into gold and silver stacking. He's like, hey, have you heard about stacking? He explained it to me. I did my research, and I'm like, oh, man. Crypto's totally speculative, but it was an opportunity I took advantage of, and then I turned it into this stuff. Because if SHTF hits the fan, if there's a global economic crisis, if anything happens with regulation from countries, etc., governments, I have more faith in this stuff than this stuff. So I said, okay, you want cryptos? I said, you're going to the casino. It could go up and go down. Should we go to Bitcoin? I said, no. Bitcoin could go to 70, 80,000, or it could go down to 4,000, right? So if you're buying in at its like near time high, which we're at like 56,000 today, you have a lot of exposure and risk to the downside. Well, should I get Ether? No, because it's also at its all-time high, and it's like, what, 1,100 or 12 or 1,700, or it's something like that right now. A lot of exposure to the downside. I advise them, what I would do is I'd get Litecoin. It's around $200 a coin. It's not near its all-time high. There's a lot of uses for Litecoin. It's well established. And I've seen it do some nice moves in the past. So they're going to do $2,000 in Litecoin. And I preface that with, this is your gamble. You may just want to go to the casino and put it all in red. However, if you want some exposure in cryptos, if I was going to do it, Litecoin would be what I'm getting exposure to now. Because I think it's your highest opportunity without an epic like loss potential. You get it at 56,000, Bitcoin could go to 4,000 or 6,000. That hurts a lot less than if a coin at 200 goes to 100 or 150. Does that make sense? Because at 2,000 a coin or $2,000 investment, 200 a coin, they're going to have 10 total coins. Bitcoin, not even anywhere close to one. An Ether, like just barely one. Or maybe it's two. I forget the price. It's either 11 or 1700. But Litecoin, a lot more exposure. So that was what I said I would do. And I prefaced it with, I'm not a financial advisor. Please, make your own choice. But this lets you guys know where my mind is at right now. I'm still stacking silver, but I am starting to get a bit more gold just because I want more exposure, and the gold to silver ratio is low right now. So to me, gold is a decent buy when that ratio is low. When that ratio is up, I'm going to buy more silver. And look at this. That's nearly 100% difference from 66 to 120, nearly 100%. So if you bought gold right now and waited till silver went up to 120 and you switched it, silver for gold, 2 ounces, you end up with 240 ounces of silver off 2 ounces of gold. Whereas if you bought silver right now, 2 ounces worth, you'd only have 120. So if you ride the ratio, you can like 10, 20%, 30%, 100%, 200%, 1x, 2x. You can 5x your money, if things got nuts. But I have a video that shows you over 20 years playing back and forth off an initial small buy, what you can turn that into. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was informative. Silver and gold, guys. Silver and gold. Thousands of years of history. The reason I like silver is even if the demand dropped for tomorrow and nobody wanted to collect it, #1 conductor of electricity in the world. You still need it for solar panels. Oh, and what does the current administration want? Clean energy. Solar panels, electric cars, big screen TVs, cell phones. The #1 conductor of electricity of a metal in the world in existence, unless there's a mystery element out there we don't know about. But what about graphene, I ask? I know we're not even close to graphene being practical, okay? Calm the frick down. So that's another reason why I like it. It's used in the medical industry. It's used in water purification. So there's another demand. There's some industrial demand for gold and stuff like teeth. Oh, and I have a video of my one tooth with the gold on it. But a much wider use here. And this stuff, the majority of it mined above ground, has already been thrown away and is sitting in landfills, etc. across the world. Whereas most gold, besides treasure that's been buried and lost or pirate ships sunk, is still above earth because it's rare. It's people collect it. Countries collect it. So there is some gold in landfills, don't get me wrong. The proportion is a crazy difference. Side note, I think in the future, landfills are going to be mined for precious metals to get it out of all the old circuitry and what have you that's been lost. I think that's going to happen. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Please, please, please kick that like button off that cliff so he smashes into the rocks, and it helps me beat that YouTube algorithm. Thank you all for watching. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe because a lot of you watching don't subscribe. I want to thank you all, and I guess I'll say, oh, and guys, I give away a lot of silver and a lot of gold. So if you're new, I have one thing to say. Mega, 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 mega. If you don't know what that means, you need to find out. And I guess I'll say, catch you on the next one. Woo!
One stacker on a journey to find silver. International Stacker.